I play Amanda Rosewater. I'm the new mayor of the town Defiance, and Defiance is a town. Okay, what happened was there was this massive war between aliens and humans, and this is after the war. This is about 8 years later, where everybody's trying to live in peace on Earth, post-apocalyptic, with aliens and humans, and so you have different. You have different factions in different towns that some are just all humans and some are just all aliens. But Defiance is actually a town of 8 races trying to live in peace. And my job is to try to keep that peace. It's very hard. So, yeah. I did do a little indie film called Supremacy. I have a tiny, tiny part in it, but it's a really amazing movie. It's based on a true story that took place in the late 80s, early 90s about a family that was taken hostage by some white supremacists. And it's with Danny Glover and Layla Bashan, and it's an amazing, it's a heavy movie. But I was just happy to be a very tiny part in something that I really enjoyed.
Have you heard any rumors about you being cast as Wasp in the Avengers 2?
No, I haven't, but I like that rumor. Can we start that rumor here? Everybody, get your phones out. Start speak to Joss Whedon. I don't even know who Wasp is.
Van Dyne.
What?
Janet Van Dyne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does she do? Does she fly?
She's
Think
like,
people?
she's married to Ant-Man who becomes Giant Man.
Oh. Please, let's
She can swoop down and fly around like a woman.
let's make this happen. See the power of Twitter. Come on. I know Joss is on there, right? I would love that.
Is the action hero again?
I would love, I mean, anything action I would love to do. I don't want to do a romantic comedy. When I read the pilot script, I jumped through hoops to get the role of Rita. I mean, I went in and I did a pre-read with a casting assistant. Like, I wanted to be part of the show because it's the type of programming that I like to watch. It's provocative, it's interesting, it really makes you think. It kind of runs you around in that little rat circle where you're like, is he good, is he bad, is he good, is he bad? He's killing bad people, but he's killing bad. It doesn't ever answer the question for you, so I love that kind of programming. Working with Michael C. Hall was in many ways a dream for me. I was a huge 6 Feet Under fan, to the point where my cell phone ring was the 6 Feet Under song. I had to change it when I started working with him because I was kind of embarrassed. But I mean, he's really, I think, one of our best actors out there. In watching him work, I learned so much from. As far as leaving the show, I did not want to leave the show. I was perfectly happy. I loved my job. I loved going to work every day. It was a decision they made, and I didn't find out till the very end. So it was. It's hard, you know. Don't feel bad, because as an actor, especially in television, you can go at any time, which is why don't kill me in the game. And put on message boards that you really like my character. But no, in television, it's not an actor's medium, so it's a writer's medium, and my job as an actor is to bring the stories that they want to tell to life. So I don't have any ownership over it. There's just no ownership, and you know, it was a difficult. It was difficult. I mean, when they first told me, I was like, oh my God, I just lost my job. And then I said, who's going to raise the baby? So it was this weird kind of mix of like, you know, it had to remind me that it's just a TV show. But so, you know, it was a hard decision, but after I got over the, oh my God, I just lost my job. Bought a house. After I got over that, I was able to see from a creative standpoint, this is why you work on a show like Dexter. This is why you work for a network like Showtime, because they don't pull their punches, and they surprise you with every twist and turn. And you know, it for me was a huge honor to have, you know, that reaction. I was afraid that, you know, Rita was going to die and people were going to be like, oh, thank God. So I know the fan reaction was just when it was such a traumatic moment for so many, it really was worth it. No, she doesn't have a bad mouth in real life, but she really does enjoy saying those lines. We all actually enjoy walking around set and saying her lines. I mean, they came up with some creative ways of swearing, and I mean, that was probably like one of the best moments of the show, is whatever would come out of her mouth. I remember one season, it was a big tall guy, she referred to him as Beef Bus. Every time I see the actor, I call him Beef Bus. I would say really Rita was very challenging for me because here I was on set with all these New York actors. I was the only one that was like an LA TV actress, and they were all theater trained and Juilliard trained, and so it was a little bit intimidating. I would say just feeling like I belonged there on that set at first I had to get over that. I had to really believe that I belonged there with these Juilliard trained actors and all these New York actors, and they work very differently than I do, and so I had to. I learned a lot, but I also had to learn to respect my own process, which is a much more organic process and very loose. But I would say season 1 of Dexter was probably my most challenging and the one I most enjoyed. Like I said, you know, when I tested for Dexter, the first time I tested twice for the role of Rita. The first time I tested, they thought I looked too LA. They thought like my hair was too blonde, and I came in and I looked like I was from LA and not from Florida. And so they asked me if I would come in the next day with no makeup on and not, you know, when you live in LA, you wear clothes that match, and, you know, you look fashionable, and they wanted me to come in not looking fashionable. So I came up with this great idea and they wanted me to look a little run down. So I came up with a great idea that I would drink a bottle of red wine the night before, because that makes my eyes really puffy. And then I wasn't going to shower. And then one of my girlfriends, I was drinking the red wine with her, said, you should put mascara in your hair and give yourself some roots. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. So I took mascara and I put like all these like roots in my hair, and my hair was really dirty anyway. And then I wore, you know how we all have those clothes that you wear when you're sick, that like if anybody saw you in them, like, oh my God, you would just die? That's what I wore. My sweatpants that were like worn out, that were just like so embarrassing that I even had them, and just in this oversized sweater, and I went to the test like that, which is pretty much unheard of. Not a stitch of makeup on, nothing, absolutely nothing. And I went in and I signed in, and I'm sitting there in the waiting room waiting. Now, I did have a bag of makeup sitting next to me, just in case I went too far. And I had some nicer clothes, too, because I was like, maybe I've gone too far in this choice. So I'm sitting there and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And the director comes out and he looks and he's looking around. He's like, I don't see her. She signed in, but she's not here. And I was like, oh. Hi, Julie. And the director and producer looked at me and they were like, oh my God, are you wearing a prosthetic? Myself, I honestly didn't think I looked that bad. And they're like, and I'm like, oh God, did I go too far? And I had like the flop sweat, so I was nervous and it was very stressful. And I remember I had wine the night before. And I'm a little hungover. So they were like, no, it's perfect, come in. And so I went in front of all the executives at Showtime. And they didn't realize it was me. And they gave me the job on the spot. When I tell my other actor girlfriends that story, they're like, oh, come on, didn't you put a little mascara on? And I'm like, absolutely nothing. I mean, you saw everything. And it's scary to go into an audition like that, like when you don't have the job, because, I mean, it's scary. And the fact they thought I was wearing a prosthetic because it's extra scary. But I was very lucky I got the job. And but that was, to me, I think, being able to kind of take that mask off, that whole, just strip myself down completely and just be this real vulnerable woman it was hard, and it was a real challenge. I mean, I have a level of vanity in me. I mean, I am an actress after all, and a woman. So it is, to take that vanity away is, it's a lot to get over. I was very close to the cast and crew. The crew especially, because we had the same crew that we had on Angel. A lot of the same departments, and so it was hard to know I wasn't going to go back and play with them anymore. As far as the last scene, it was very hard for me. I'd only just found out, so I only found out like a couple days before, and I wasn't allowed to tell anybody, and I wasn't allowed to tell the crew. The crew literally found out right before we shot the scene, and it was the last scene shot of that season. So my lovely husband, who we were dating at the time, decided to bring some friends to set and decorate my trailer like a morgue. And turned it into a little party for me, because he didn't want me to just dissolve into tears. I'm terrible at saying goodbye. I'm horrible. I'm an emotional basket case, and I say goodbye. So he turned it into the kind of the party atmosphere, and I took the little tombstone. It was that styrofoam tombstone, and I took it out and floated in the tub to make everybody laugh. I really wanted to make the crew okay with it, and because they had literally just found out. I had a couple days to process, so we tried to keep it as light as possible. But it was emotional for everyone. I was Vampire Girl number 1. I don't know what happened to number 2. I was Vampire Girl number 1. And when we shot it was a pilot presentation, and I had met Joss because I was one of like 1,000 girls that auditioned to play Buffy, and he liked the choices that I made, even though I wasn't right for the role. He thought I made some interesting creative choices, and then he called and said, "How would you feel about playing Vampire Girl number 1?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm not doing anything this week." So. I didn't really have much of a career, so I was like, okay. I really enjoyed. And what I most enjoyed was working with Joss. I mean, Joss just has this kind of exuberance about him, and he gets you so excited, and he's like, oh, we're gonna have you do this, and when you're, in one of the episodes where I'm walking down, I'm skipping around all the other vampires, like the Master and all the evil, and he has me skipping in my little schoolgirl outfit. That was total Joss. Joss was like, "How do you feel about skipping?" And I was like, "Oh, I love it." And he's like, "And do a twirl or two." And I was like, "Okay." He just gets you excited, and I don't think I knew at the time, because I was new to LA. I didn't really understand the television process, so I didn't really know exactly what it was we were doing. I just knew in the moment I was having fun, and then Vampire Girl number 1 turned into Darla, which I was very thankful for. And then I was supposed to die in each episode, and every time they'd go to kill me, him and David Greenwald would come running and be like, "We're not going to kill you this week." Or, "We're going to kill you next week." So I was like, "Oh, cool, I get to work on another episode. This is fun." So yeah, it was definitely a very cool experience to be a part of. What did I love most about Darla? I just loved her. I mean, she was epic. She was 400 years old. I mean, it's pretty awesome. I really loved doing the flashbacks. I loved wearing that corset, sometimes a little too much. Every week I'd see how tight they could pull it, to the point where I couldn't breathe during half those scenes. But it was fun, and every week they threw a new challenge out at us as actors. I mean, one episode I had to ride a horse through fire, or another episode I had to sing, another episode I had to be buried alive. Like, there was always something exciting that was going to happen, and you always felt like, oh God, this is the episode I'm going to fail. And then you somehow managed to make it through. And I think too, we were all in our 20s and younger, that we were taking risks as actors, and we were encouraged to make creative choices and take risks, and it was okay if they didn't work out. And we were in really great hands. I mean, we had Joss Whedon at our home, and we had David Greenwald, we had Tim Minear, and Steve DeKnight. We had so many wonderful people that have gone, like writers that have gone on to do bigger things. Sean Ryan, that were all in the writing room at the time of Buffy and Angel. So we were just in such great hands that, I do feel like I did the best I could possibly do with the character at that time. I would love to revisit her. It'd be interesting now, some years later, to play Darla again and see what other choices I would make. But, I am really proud of my work on that show. I really grew as an actor. I mean, I'm still friends with a lot of the cast from Buffy and Angel, and I still, honestly, it doesn't feel like it was as long ago as it was. I mean, it feels like I just walked off that set like 3 days ago. So, it doesn't feel like it was, but it was 10, 15 years ago or something like that. I don't like watching the first season of Buffy because I had really bad hair. Bangs are not attractive on me. I mean, they were curled under with a curling iron. It was horrible hair. I can't watch them. But occasionally, if you're flipping through the channel and catch it, I'm like, oh, honey, look. He's watched a couple episodes. I know you recently did the Much Ado About Nothing. Unfortunately, did not call me. It's okay, I'll get over it. But no, I mean, he's really amazing to work with, and I learned so much from him. I would love to revisit, some years later, what that work would be like again. So I would love to. I think it came down to just a handful of things. One being we were in a really bad time slot. We were on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock on ABC, and we were the only new show in that time slot. So NBC had Biggest Loser, which was a heavy hitter for them, and in their fourth or fifth season, we had Glee. NCIS, which is a monster. So it was really hard to get a foothold. I mean, our lead-in was Wheel of Fortune. I have nothing against Wheel of Fortune, but I prefer Jeopardy. So I turn off the TV when Wheel of Fortune comes on. But it was really hard for a new show to kind of get a leg to stand on. I also think we had a more sophisticated audience in that most people I know that watched it either streamed it, watched it on iTunes, watched it in different formats. And those numbers don't count, or they count very little. So our ratings were low for the live airing at 8 p.m. But we were #1 on iTunes. We were #1 internationally. We were #1 on Hulu. All those sites we were #1, but they don't really count those numbers. So it was it's sad. It was really sad. I'm probably most sad about that project because I really think that show had a lot of potential, and it was a lot of fun to shoot, and we all really enjoyed it, and it's just sad. So when you like a show, watch it live. People are watching. I love playing Eunice Bloom. I love firing those guns. I love twirling those pistols. I love those boys. I love being it was the first time I was cast where I wasn't a love interest or a victim or a wife, and I was smarter than everyone, and I got to still remain feminine and sexy and just have as much fun with guns as the boys get to have. And so she was so much fun for me to play, and I would love to revisit her again. So. There's talk that they were going to try and turn it into a TV show, but I hope they do it more as another movie. And I hope they do it sooner rather than 8 years from now, like the first one. I think it's one of the reasons why I've been in the genre for so long, is that the female characters are so strong. I think especially in Defiance, you see every female character is a woman of strength. of power in some way, and you don't really come across that. And I turned 40 this year, and as an actor, you don't really come across the role of a woman in power very often at my age. So you take it when you get it. When I was in my 20s, I only wanted to do romantic comedies, which you see how that worked out for me. I was not interested in doing any kind of action stuff or anything, and it wasn't until I did Rambo and then Punisher and then Saw and Boondock Saints that I realized I love firing guns. I'm really good at it. And I love playing a badass. and so, I've realized that now I want to be an action star. But like I said, I'm 40. I'm not really writing movie stars.
Those guys in the Expendables are much older.
I know, but they were all established action stars. So maybe if they do an older version of the Expendables, all-female casting.
I think they should. You should get Julie Benz in there, huh?
Shoe geek. I mean, if Christian Louboutin walked in the door right now, I would probably...
You'd wait in line for his autograph.
Maybe. I actually thought about it once. He was signing shoes at Saks, and I actually thought about, like, do I go down there? And then I said, no, I can't. Because if he signed the shoes, then I would wear them, and then they'd be out of the expensive thing. You know what I mean? So it was like, I can't. No, I mean, definitely actors whose work I respect a lot. One time I was in the grocery store and it was in LA, I was grocery shopping, and I look over and I see Lawrence Fishburne, and he's in the vegetable section, and I'm like, oh, look, there's Lawrence Fishburne. And then I'm like picking out my groceries, and all of a sudden I feel this person standing next to me, and I look up, and it's Lawrence Fishburne, and he's like, I'm a big fan of your work. Did you say that again? And he said it again, and he goes, I'm Lawrence Fishburne. I'm like, yeah, I know. Thank you. Are you sure you know who I am? People mistake me sometimes, like, I'm Christine Applegate or Bowen, because they think Julie Benz and everyone. And then Kevin Bacon and Keira Sedgwick did that to me too at the Emmys. My first year at the Emmys with Dexter. They literally, almost tackled me in the alley, the aisle. And I'm like, I grew up with Footloose, you know what I mean? The original Footloose, the only Footloose. And he has a game named after him. He's 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. And him and Keira are talking, and we're just such huge fans, we're talking about the show, and I'm just like, and I'm like, this is very weird. They're like, we understand. And I'm like, no, you really don't. It's very weird for me. And now when I see Kevin Bacon at events, he comes over and says hi, and I'm still like, I remember my very first Emmys just running around and looking at all these stars. And there's all these celebrities here. It's a toss-up. Yeah, oh God. It's a toss-up between a bunch of them. I would say, Darla for obvious reasons. Because I lived forever. And I would never age. And I'd have great clothes. I'd kill people, but so much. But then, Eunice Bloom, what a badass. And I could, once again, kill people. Being here. But also, I love Stephanie Pell's in Ordinary Family. Being able to have super speed, I would never sit in traffic ever again. Which I think sitting in traffic ages you. It's terrible. I would love to do more comedy. I started in this business doing comedy, and it was because of Joss, all of a sudden people started thinking of me as a dramatic actress. And every once in a while I get to do comedy again. I got to do some comedy in Boondock Saints too. I would love to do more comedy. It's just, I don't think it's in the cards for me right now. So.
No comedy happening in Defiance for your character then?
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit, yeah. So, everyone thinks I should do stand-up, but I can't. I'm terrified. Damages. love vampires. Games of Thrones. Did you see me on that show?
At the rate they kill off characters, they'll probably
I don't want to play one that doesn't die. I would love to do a comedy like Modern Family. I look like Julie Bowen. I did play her mom sister. What else? God, we just recently started getting into Suits.
Yeah.
Which we really enjoying. Yeah. I can't watch another vampire show. No, I really can't because the rules are different. Like True Blood vampires are different than Joss Whedon vampires, and in my mind, Joss Whedon vampires rule. So. Vampires don't do that. I love the show Homeland. Have you watched Homeland?
Yeah, it's great.
It's amazing. I keep eating the mic. I'm sorry. Homeland's awesome. So if you get a chance to see it, I know they're starting their second season in the States, but season 1 I watched on an airplane. I was supposed to sleep. I was flying to Australia. I watched the whole thing. I'm not sleeping, but it's awesome. I still have, it was a Trinity Mellon pre-college program, so I was a junior in high school. It was the summer of my junior year, and there was this one teacher there that basically told me I would never make it as an actor, that I had the worst voice in the entire world, and all this stuff. I still have the actual report card that she wrote it on. Yeah, I still have it. I love it.